When did the abuse finally stop, or did it?
It didn't stop for, I finally, when I was 18, almost going on 19, I started going to church, and there was a strong conviction there, and I finally went to him and told him that if he didn't stop, I was going to kill myself, and I fully meant it. I tried a few other times, and I was never successful, and I don't think that I really wanted it at that time, but that one time that I did mention it to him, he knew that if it didn't, that's what was going to happen.
Right. Okay. And he was the first person you told about all the abuse.
Everything.
Apart from the time you tried to tell your mother.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
From the time I was 3 or 5, I must have been 3 or 4, to 27. Okay. So I was the perfect wife. I kept everything inside. I pretended everything was okay. I always smiled. I always made the perfect turkey, made the perfect pie. I never said anything. I never.
Right. And then you actually came into the FBI office back in 03, I believe it was, regarding your story, because you had you confided in your husband, right?
I confided in my husband, and at that time I was plagued with night terrors. I always had night terrors. I just sort of suppressed them, and I just blew them off. But at that time, I believe my son that I gave up for adoption was 18 or 19, and I just constantly had these dreams 3 and 4 times a night that I was going to get this knock on this door, and there was going to be somebody that sort of looked like me and ask, why did I give him up? And I didn't think that I had the nerve to tell him. And where would I even begin to tell him? Part of him is me, but a part of him is a monster.
Right.
So I struggled with that, and then the guilt set in because I did have a son when I was married to my first husband that I kept.
Right.
And he had an older brother.
Right.
But he had no idea, and how do I explain this, to him? So I kicked myself for that. If I would have come forward a lot sooner, I hold myself completely responsible. That I never said anything. If I would have, perhaps he would be facing a stiffer sentence. Right now he's sitting in a jail cell by himself. He's been in trouble for hoarding food. He claims to be depressed. He claims to be claustrophobic. He gets government-paid Xanax. He gets government-paid everything. I can't even afford a therapist to deal with, my 30-something years of,
right.
And that's nothing compared to the shame and the guilt that I feel that I never said anything, that I was too afraid. I didn't have a voice, and I wish I would have. I wish I had the strength and the courage to have said something, because if I did, it may have made a difference.
Right.